He's posting that if Hamas continues to kill people in Gaza, we won't have a choice but to go in and kill them ourselves. That word coming as Israel is now accusing Hamas of not holding up its end of the historic ceasefire deal by withholding the remains of dead hostages. The terror group did hand over the bodies of 2 more hostages to Israel last night, but also said it would take significant effort and special equipment to find the rest. Joining me now, White House correspondent Karen Travers, also our Patrick Reevell, plus national security and defense analyst Mick Mulroy. A lot breaking this hour. Patrick, let's start with you. Does it look like this ceasefire is just falling apart?
Kira, no, I think for now the ceasefire is still holding, but it's certainly under strain. As you say there, President Trump now issuing a blunt warning to Hamas, saying that he doesn't want to see these killings that we have been seeing over the past few days happening in Gaza. Basically, Hamas, since Israel has been withdrawing from Gaza, has been reasserting its authority violently in some parts. There have been gun battles between Hamas fighters and other militias in these areas. We've also seen some videos showing public executions. And basically, this is clashes between Hamas and then militias linked with powerful clans in Gaza who have managed to gain some control there in the course of the war. But also we're seeing a lot of tension today over the issue of the return of the bodies of deceased hostages. Hamas has now said today that it has handed over all of the bodies of the deceased hostages that it currently has access to, and says that it can only recover the others using specialist machinery and significant efforts, saying that they are basically buried and lost beneath the rubble in Gaza at the moment. Hamas so far has only returned 9 of the 28 bodies of deceased hostages in Gaza. Israel has said that Israel's foreign minister has said that that is a fundamental violation of the ceasefire and has appealed to the US and other countries that have mediated the deal to immediately resolve it. They've also halved the aid going into Gaza in response to this delay. So clearly there is a lot of tension around this deal, but for now it does still hold, Kira.
Okay. Well, Karen, this comes on the heels of the president's comment to you the other day, upping the pressure on Hamas. Still not saying when he would go after Hamas, but he's upped the language for sure.
He has. I mean, it's another threat now to Hamas, and it's not clear what exactly, Kira, the president is referring to in this latest post, who the we is even here, if it's the United States or if it's Israel working with the United States when the president says we will have no choice but to go in and kill them, talking about Hamas. And it was just 2 days ago when I asked the president about whether he could guarantee that Hamas would disarm as part of the next phase in this ceasefire and peace negotiation, and the president said if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And he said very quickly and perhaps violently. I asked him how he would do that. He said he didn't have to explain that, but again repeated, we will disarm them. I asked him about a deadline on that, what type of pressure he would put on Hamas and how he could do that. Kira, he would only say very quickly and in a reasonable period of time. But this latest post certainly ups that pressure and ups the threat now aimed at Hamas because of all those things Patrick was describing that we're seeing now in just the last few days since the president was in the region.
All right, so Mick, what do you think? What does we mean? Does we mean he tells Israel, go back and start, bombing Gaza and taking out Hamas? Does it mean bringing in Turkey, Qatar? What do you think?
So, Kara, I think he might be deliberately being ambiguous, right? So it's unlikely that he intends to insert U.S. forces into this, but we all know that 200 U.S. military are now in Israel for the purposes of maintaining this ceasefire, but it's right across essentially the border from Gaza into Israel. So he might be leaving it deliberately that way, but of course the IDF is fully capable of doing it without the United States. They can essentially turn around and go back in. I'd also point out that we're seeing what could be a civil war, if you will, inside Gaza. There's many armed groups that don't want to see Hamas coming back into power, which makes it less likely that Hamas is going to willfully disarm. Why? Because those groups have a vendetta against Hamas, and they would be very vulnerable.